Well, Mother, I made it at last. I've gone mainstream. Welcome to the Recruiter Startup Podcast. This is our Christmas special. We have roped in none other than Mark Gaisford. How are you, Mark?
It feels like I've been roped in, actually. No, I'm joking. I'm really well.
It's wonderful to have you here. I've loads to ask you. I probably asked you too much already, but I'm going to repeat some of
No,
them.
go for it. I'm so used to talking about it.
You don't mind talking about yourself?
No, I hate it. I'm really, I'm a humble guy. Don't really like talking about myself.
Well, I'm going to go into recruitment stuff in a little bit. Talk to me about the I have no friends experience.
That video really came out of the fact that I'm now 52, nearly 53 in January, and my kids are 20 and 23, and one's in second year at university, the other one is literally just about to set up home with his partner, and so the house will become very empty very, very quickly. And you just take a long look in the mirror, I think, at that point, especially when you've done what I've done, and I think a lot of people have done the same thing, and you've invested so much of your time in career, and then the pressures of family and raising a family and all that sort of stuff, and you look around and think, actually, where's all the really close friends? I mean, I know a ton of people through networking and working and all the rest of it, but actually when you really have a hard look and see where are your really close friends, I actually discovered that I didn't have any, so I then produced a video.
And did you stop playing sports at a certain stage? Because that's usually...
Does it show?
It's showing for me right now.
I used to do a lot of running, and I've done a couple of half marathons. I mean, very solo sport, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
So, but we're recruiters, and at the end of the day, most of our working day is spent talking to candidates or clients. And in all honesty, you're done by the end of the day. All you want to do is sit on a sofa with a glass of something strong and not talk to anybody. And so it requires, I think, a little bit more effort to get up and think, right, I'm going to go out again now.
Yeah.
Well, certainly when you get to my age, anyway. Maybe not in your 20s so much, and so it just kind of disappears, and you just get taken over by life in general. And then when something big happens, like the kids leave home, it is that time. I think the empty nester, isn't it? That's what it's called. But you do have a look at yourself and think, well, actually, I think I want to make some changes now. And I mean, the thing is, everyone says, oh my God, why did you produce a video? But for me, it's not such a big leap, because we do that all the time. So it kind of is a natural step. And little did I know that it wasn't just people in their 50s. And some of the messages, I mean, we've had thousands and thousands of messages from across the world, at people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all with the similar issues. And it just made me think, we're in a world now where with social media, we are supposed to be more connected than we've ever been in history. And I think the reality is we're probably further apart than we've ever been in history, because it's not the same. Social media and the 300 friends you've got on Facebook are not really friends.
We studied the comments, and looking at your comments, everybody's very familiar. There's something that you've hit a chord with the masses. What does that mean for your inbox? Like,
it's crazy.
What are you sitting on?
I swear to God, this thing is just, at the moment, I had to put out an apology message on LinkedIn yesterday. Someone called it a humble brag, and it really wasn't. It was actually a genuine apology, because so many people have contacted me and sent me an email, and I literally have not had the time to respond to everyone. And I love responding to everybody. I think it's just courteous, but I just haven't had the time. So, I mean, some of my Christmas is literally going to be spent going through a load of these outstanding emails and trying to respond back to people.
What type of things are they saying to you?
Oh, I mean, so the No Friends video has honestly blown my mind, because people are quite happy sometimes to comment publicly, and others aren't, and those tend to be real heartfelt stories. And I genuinely get paragraphs and paragraphs from people just telling me their story, because it touched them in some way, and so they're sharing their story. And some of those things are absolutely mental. I mean, let me just give you an example very, very quickly. So I put out a video probably 3 months ago, saying that I'd been diagnosed with ADHD.
Was that 3 months ago?
I think it must have been, because I was diagnosed in July, so it was something like that. And I had a message from a guy who said, "Oh, I think you're talking to me, sounds like me, all of those symptoms sound like me.
Yeah.
What did you do? And this was all on direct message, not public. And so I said, this is the route I took, and went to see a psychiatrist. And about a month after that, he messaged me back and said, I've been to the psychiatrist. They said I haven't got ADHD. They sent me to the hospital. I had a brain scan.
Oh, Jesus.
I had a tumour. Had it not been for your video, I would now be dead.
Oh my God.
And when you get messages like that,
yeah.
you just think, Jesus Christ, I cannot leave my inbox unmanned. We've got to be, we've got to be helped. So some of these stories are mad, absolutely mad, and you just don't, and I think I don't appreciate sometimes just how important or how much they resonate with people.
Yeah.
So it is crazy.
So ADHD, no friends.
Yeah. Rather screwed, aren't I?
Yeah. How come you're getting reflective now? Like.
So I think, I mean, in all honesty, so I'm being very genuine. That nothing that I put out is in any way embellished or lying. It's all true.
Yeah.
But there is a commercial angle to this, because if you're going to, and I think I'm proving it now, if you're going to brand a business or brand yourself to develop leads, which is why ultimately we are all here, then all of the experts and the social media experts will tell you to be genuine, be authentic, and be yourself. And so I just kind of took that message to heart and said, well, okay, I'm going to be me. And I think it's still a leap, I think, from there to then telling the world that you've been diagnosed with ADHD, or then telling the world that you've got no friends. And that's probably part of ADHD, because I have very little filter, so I just put stuff out. But I think it's because it's genuine, it's authentic, and clients come to us and buy as a result, because they know me. And that's what this world is all made up of. It's the old cliche, isn't it? But people buy from people. And so if you understand that person and you get to know that person, you're more likely to buy from that person.
So I might be on the spectrum as well. I haven't been diagnosed. Not very good at sitting still, wasn't good in classrooms, have too many ideas. How do you center yourself?
So I'm on a massive journey at the moment. So I mean, literally, and you go through this sort of moment of not euphoria, but you sort of think, oh, okay. Immediately you're diagnosed, you start to think, oh, that answers a few questions.
Yeah. Like what type of thing?
So I mean, exactly the same as you. Okay. So I mean, I was at school, I was absolutely appalling, and my report card at school would have said, bright, but could do better, and if only he focused, and all this sort of stuff. Which back in the 80s, I mean, nowadays that's probably a red flag, and they would start to investigate that further. Back in the 80s, when I was at school,
put you in the slow class.
Yeah, you're just put to the bottom set and left, really. And so it answered a lot of questions for me. You then go through a sort of stage of denial, though. Think, oh no, it must be wrong. No. And then actually it's a kind of acceptance of that diagnosis, and then you're on a massive journey to understand, well, what does it actually mean? Where has it impacted in my life for the last 52 years? And where's it impacted negatively? There are some real positive elements to it as well. I mean, for example, and it's very weird, and I get it, it's difficult for people to understand ADHD, but we have this ability as ADHDers to be able to hyper-focus on something. So something that really interests us, and for me, I'm lucky because that's video editing. And I can sit and edit a video for 10, 12 hours straight without even getting up to go to the loo. It's just I'm just completely in it. But there are some negative sides of that, so distractibility, lack of focus, and so you go on this journey, and this is where I'm starting now, is really understanding, well, where has it impacted and what can I now do about it in the future?
Let me jump into the recruitment stuff. You didn't just appear 2 years ago out of the recruitment womb.
No.
You've had a proper background in it.
Oh yeah. I've been in the recruitment industry for well over 25 years.
You've held some punchy positions over the years, right?
Yes, I mean, I was ops director at Blue Arrow, MD of a couple of businesses as well. So I've had a bit of a recruitment background.
Yeah. What led you to being like the MD of high street recruitment business, that's completely old school, to going full circle on it, doing a brand first, media centric, cool bohemian search firm?
Because I think that's the way the world's going. I think our industry.
When did you decide that?
probably I got frustrated in the last organisation that I worked at, where I was group ops director, and the board wouldn't listen really to my suggestions.
What were those suggestions?
And that was that we needed to come away from this very old school model. We really needed to niche specifically into market segments and be. I think this is something that Kevin Green from the REC used to say, you've got to be an inch wide and a mile deep in terms of your knowledge rather than the other way around. And I completely bought into that concept. And so that's the way that recruitment was going. And clients, especially in this market where candidates are really difficult to find, really good quality candidates are really, really difficult to find, we need to know our shit. We really need to understand, and we need to demonstrate to our clients that we can go and find those people that they can't find themselves. And that's where recruitment sits largely these days. Is if you're going to put up a job role for an administrator or something, it may be quite easy for a client to find that. But talking about SEO technical consultants who have a real deep understanding, we need to know about that and what that candidate looks like. But also we need to have a community of people that we can go and draw on. So we have to be specialist. And the board at the last company really didn't see that. And so out of that came Red Sprout.
Yeah, and who are you talking to when you're coming up with your idea for your company and you're thinking, I'm going to do this differently? Like, is there a partner? Is there somebody there that because you have no friends, so
exactly. So I mean, I'm actually naturally an introvert. So a lot of my ideas come from within, and I don't need to necessarily talk about those. All my thinking happens inside, and then I'll start to talk to people and validate that thinking a little bit. But actually, I've done a lot of that thinking beforehand, and so that's really where the idea came up with. And in all honesty, the idea for Red Sprout came primarily from there must be something we can do with video, and not necessarily video across social, but actually what can we do with video to introduce an amazing candidate to a client, and so. I think video interviewing was very much in its infancy when I started this, and it was I just thought the whole user experience from a video interview point of view was dreadful. I mean, a lot of recruiters were sending emails with 3 questions saying, can you answer these questions into your webcam? Well, that's not going to draw personality out of anybody. And so my concept was, well, let's just get on a Skype call essentially and edit that and really show the candidate's communication skills, their presentation skills, and present a candidate properly. And that's really where Red Sprout was born. And from there, we've kind of really sort of taken video to the next level, really.
So video plays a prominent part
Yeah.
in your presentation to the client.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you have business all over the world, all over England? Where do you focus in on?
So we, we started on our local area because it was easier. So we were predominantly a Kent-based recruitment business, and our sort of niche area was within the marketing sector. We didn't really try to do this, but we ended up being marketing agency side more than sort of company side in terms of the recruitment we did. So, and a lot of our business is still agency side, but you can't scale a business if you're just going to be in Kent and marketing agencies as clients. You've got to go bigger. So we've got clients now across London, Brighton. I mean, most of the UK will now is our client base. And I mean, ultimately, and it makes me laugh because I hadn't really thought about it before, but now we seem to have something of a global audience on LinkedIn as well. The amount of people that are coming through to me saying, "Oh, when are you opening up in New York? I'd love to come and work for you," which is just crazy. And we haven't thought that far ahead.
Yeah.
But when people start talking about it, you think, well, I've got an audience over there, and we've got recruiters that perhaps will want to start to work with us. So maybe that is a possibility in the future.
So you don't plan ahead, or do you fantasize?
I've got ADHD. I don't plan ahead. I'm right now. I mean, I'm in the moment. I don't even know what's going to happen in the next half an hour. This is me. So no, and this is where, I mean, you talked about whether I've got a business partner or who I talk to ideas about, and when I started it was just me.
Yeah.
Now I so utterly depend upon the person sitting on my left-hand side, because she's very, very, so Olivia is joined me about nearly 2 years ago, and I utterly depend on her, because she's totally and utterly different from me. She's the process person.
I've got one of those.
But her brain works in a very, very different way. She's organised. She prioritised. She plans, and I do none of that. Yeah.
I saw your yearly wrap-up video. The two of you seem to get on really well.
We
do.
Good
Chemistry.
Yeah, we do.
Olivia jump straight into being like, I'll be a personality too, or did you have to coax that out of her?
Oh my God, no. I mean, I think the first video, well, I actually stuck the video camera on as she was walking up the stairs to the office on her first day.
Her movie star looks.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. So it was a bit of a, it was a bit difficult to get her on video first. But she kind of knew because she'd seen some of the stuff that I put out that I worked a lot with video, so she expected that. But she's massively grown into this role. So she's now ops director of our business, and we're positioning ourselves now really to scale. So we've got all these processes and systems and everything else in place now, really to be able to scale quite quickly. And Liv's the person that's done all of that stuff.
And what does scale mean to you? Like, what does it mean? Like, if we're to catch up before you're too famous and stuff, in a year's time or whatever, does scale mean you're going to do the traditional model that you're all too familiar with, bring in 3, 1 survives, let's KPI the shit out of them, punch them in the face on the way in,
it's not
kick their ass on the way out.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things. Number 1, I don't want investor money. I want to grow our
Unlucky lads.
Sorry, just thought I'd put that out there. I don't want investor money. I want this business to grow organically. And this culture seems to be of investor money everywhere, and then you see all these people going around. It makes me laugh on LinkedIn saying, "Oh, look at us with our new swanky offices and all our new cars." And I mean, Christ, it's piss easy to go and spend somebody else's money for Christ's sake.
Sure.
It's bloody hard work if you're going to try and grow something organically from scratch, and that's what I want to do. And ultimately, because I want to keep control of this business, and I want it to have a very different personality to all the other recruiters out there, and I do not want to either KPI the shit out of consultants, because again, I think this model, it comes, in my view, and I've seen this, it comes from people that used to run a desk in 1985, who've now got to a level of senior management and think that, oh, well, that's what I did in my day, so all I'm going to do is tell my guys to do the same thing. Bollocks, it doesn't work. It honestly does not work. You've got to change your attitude, and senior managers have got to be on a desk and understand how this market works. And if you don't do that, I'm sorry, you're probably not a very good manager. You've got to understand where the market is today, and it's fundamentally, I'm on my pedestal here, it is very different to what it was in 1985.
That said, and I agree with you, we still need structure. We still need...
Totally we do.
And we still need to be able to analyse activities, so we can see where something
but we don't need to KPI the crap out of everybody, and ultimately if you're in perm recruitment, there's really one KPI that matters, and that's number of first interviews. If you've got that, everything else fits in around that. That's the one KPI. So KPI people on first interviews, and off you go from there. But we certainly don't need to be KPIing on number of phone calls and number of CVs sent. It's just, and that's the sort of culture that I grew up in recruitment, and it doesn't work. You just get ticked. I went on a mission there. I'm a bit passionate about
that. Interestingly enough, actually, I had our performance development plans with our team yesterday, and I went through sort of expectations for next year. And that was equally mine. My biggest thing was number of candidates in process. That was all I really sort of was to focus on. If you have a certain number of candidates in process, likelihood is you're going to get the result that you want. We all kind of know what we need to do to get those number of candidates in process, but let's have that as our focus. And I think it's so right.
One of the things I wanted to ask you was, given that you're creating this massive personal brand now, and you've got clients beating down your door, and you've got a very small team, and you're putting your processes together. Have you looked into doing joint branding exercises with those clients where you get a retainer and you're like, hey, this is it, I've gone to meet them, here we are, here's the offices.
We've done quite a lot of that actually, and
I'm doing that at the moment with one of our clients, but I was thinking you're like that.
It works. It really works well for both sides. I mean, from our side, and just being really honest about it, from our side, retained business is great because it works for our cash flow. Because we've got regular cash coming through. For a small business as you're trying to scale up, it makes sense to do that. And we will offer a little bit of a discount for a big, for a nice retained deal. But it works for the clients that are recruiting and growing massively. So
we had a trip to Florida recently, and we met Joe Mullings, and I was just talking about him before to you. But he runs a really good search firm there, and he said, hey, would you like to work with us? And I said, listen, our clients are UK-owned recruitment firms, set way of work, and we know how to move one to the next. You're a complex search firm that's media first, it's going to be tough for us. He said, let's make it worth your while. Let's do a joint branding exercise. Let's do what I do with my clients, and we'll do an engagement free up front. And there was a couple other complex things that he put into it, but essentially it was work together. I'll pay you to keep your interest, and then you deliver, and then I'll pay you more. And I thought that's a much nicer approach, isn't it? Than I'm retained and I have a client. It's a big secret. What's the secret for?
And we put a video about this out a little while ago.
Robert Kenward, hey?
we put a video about this out a little while ago because, sorry, my mobile phone's just got absolutely mad. Can I just give that to you, Liv? Sorry.
Stop commenting on his stuff.
I know. I can see it vibrating going on. I think that's we have got to, in this industry, really, really focus on the candidate experience. And a recruiter that goes to market and says, and the typical two things that they don't ever tell anybody is who the client is, and what the bloody salary is. And how, as a candidate, I mean, I just have no idea how a candidate would even want to apply for a job where they don't know where it is and they don't know what the salary is. It's just madness. So, you know, where you can create and generate those relationships with clients where you are their outsourced recruiter on whatever basis, but I mean, we only take exclusive now. We will never work contingency because it's a bun fight. And where you can do that, you can do a better job. And you can be very open and make the candidate experience so much better. And so we do a lot of that. It's caused us some problems. So where we've worked with clients before, we have gone to market and said it's this company, and some candidates have gone behind our back.
But that happens to us.
And I take a very pragmatic view on this, and that is actually the reality is for the majority of candidates that we talk to, there is a massive appreciation that we're being open about everything, and if we lose one or two along the way, then we lose one or two along the way.
I had this conversation with a client in LA after 10 pints of beer. And
I don't think I can do that, actually, have a conversation after 10. Well, we'll find out tomorrow.
he was talking, I was listening. But he said, from coming on your podcast, we filled a lot of vacancies. Does that bother you? And I said, before you came on the podcast, I made no money out of it. I put 6 people in.
There you go.
So you won, I won.
We're just also bloody protective, aren't we? And we won't give away our secrets. It's like working at KFC and you won't give the secret recipe away. It's just, we've got to be a little bit more mature, grown up and pragmatic.
Well, one of the things about trying to do things a little bit differently, as maybe us ADHDers, dyslexic types, is it's harder to then scale because you're not using the traditional model that one of the societies can just hand you and say, plug and play this because you're doing stuff different. With you mentioned before we started that you hire people without recruitment experience. Do you expect that to continue? Is my first question. And 2, how do you onboard somebody into a new model and a new way of doing it, and what does that look like?
And I think that's the answer to the first question, actually. We will continue to do that. And I think that comes from because we're based in Canterbury as well, so we haven't got available stunning recruiters. So you have to take a long hard look and think, well, how else do we do this? But I think actually because we do things differently, in some ways coming with previous recruitment experience is a little bit of a disadvantage because we can slow this process down quite a bit for our candidates because we do a lot with video interview. But so our screening process is really in depth to make sure that we've got the right candidate before we would submit the CV. I mean, if you were to check our ratio of a KPI of CVs sent to other recruiters, we will be way down because we want to make absolutely sure we've got the right person. Then we send them, and often we have a 1-on-1 ratio, which CVs sent interview 1, interview 2, hire, because we're getting it right, and rather than just showering people with a load of rubbish. So I think there can be, I'm not going to say it's completely, but there can be a disadvantage coming to us if you've got recruitment experience, and so we will continue to do what we do at the moment.
And what type of training did you put the new guys through? I'm just curious because you're doing stuff a little bit differently.
I mean for us it actually we've started a little book club at the moment. And we're Liv and I, and we're reading a book by a guy called Jim Collins called Good to Great.
The right seat on the bus.
That's it. And so actually our focus is making absolutely sure that we're hiring the right people with the right attitude. And in all honesty, if we get that bit right, the rest kind of falls into place.
Will they always be office based, or do you think you'll build a remote team, or given that you're in a regional area?
I mean, I think so London and the South East we're quite happy to be able to run from where we are at the moment. I think ultimately we can, we work in the UK from our offices at the moment. Our issue, we were talking about this literally this morning, is shall we come to the shiny city of London and actually set up an office up here? And I don't know whether we'll do that or not, we'll see. But at the moment, I'm a bit of not anti-flexible work, but anti sort of, I don't know. I want a team and I want it in the office because I want to build a culture. And that's, I'm really obsessed about that, about making sure that we've got a really good dynamic and people want to come to work. And whilst we've got the opportunity to do that at the moment, then we'll continue. I don't know what the future, I've got ADHD, I don't know, I don't plan next day, so
No, I'm curious, Shara, what would you say about that? We kind of developed our own culture with the remote team, but it took a long time, didn't it?
It did. I think having a remote team is definitely possible, but I think it's a longer play to get the culture in place.
Processes have to be stricter.
A lot of processes in, a lot of catch up. So before we kind of, I think we're a bit like, oh, we can just catch up twice a week and like everyone will be fine. And it's like, no, like we need to have a WhatsApp group, we need to be messaging each other all the time, we need to have like a daily Skype catch up, because otherwise if you don't have like in the office where you see everyone and you just chat about other stuff, not even work stuff, you can't develop that relationship unless you're having frequency of communication and contact. So I definitely think it's possible. It just takes longer.
It's amazing how much you learn about each other and how you learn to work with each other just through the office banter. When you're not even necessarily talking about work, but you really get an understanding of that individual and how they operate and how their brain works. So
and what's important to them, because everyone has different things that are important to them. And I think to develop that relationship with your staff, I don't think you can have just a face value relationship and having it meaningful. To have that meaningful relationship, you need to know, do they have a cat that they love, or have they got kids and it's their birthday this weekend, that sort of stuff.
What's the blueprint to going mainstream in terms of your media presence, from a point of somebody who'd be there going, maybe they're leaving an old school recruitment firm and they're like, I want to build my brand, I want to be on LinkedIn, I want to like, what would you say is, if you could streamline the journey that you were on, like what were those steps?
There's a couple of interesting ones. So the first one, when you start, so everyone does this, but as soon as you start to do anything with a camera, it's scary. It's scary, and so the first thing you learn quite quickly is keep putting yourself in front of the camera, and then you get to this place where you then think, do you know what? I don't give a shit. I swear to God, that is number one rule. When you get in front of a camera, do lots of it. I put out a video about this a little while ago, just saying, just sit in front of the camera and tell the camera about your day, and so you just become more comfortable sitting in front of the camera ultimately. And then you get to this stage where you just don't give a shit what you look like, it doesn't matter, because then you're sort of tapping into this piece around authenticity, because you're just comfortable sitting in front of a camera and having a chat. What's the second bit? I think the second bit, this is a massive rule, which we 100% live by now, is don't sell. Everyone cares. No, if I was going to go on and do, and we've done it before, we've made all the mistakes that everyone else has made. You go on and you do a salesy video. Hi, I'm Mark and I'm from Red Sprout. No one gives a shit. They don't care. What they want to do is, and it's the same, you think of LinkedIn as being a professional networking channel. It's not, it's a social media channel. And actually, the people that will do well are the people that are prepared to be authentic, prepared to put themselves out there and introduce themselves to their audience, to just be you, and kind of find content that actually resonates with people. Because if it resonates with you, it's bound to resonate with other people, and then you start to build an audience. And
big topics, right? Not niche topics.
Yeah. So, I'm a massive fan of Shay Rowbottoms. If you don't follow Shay, follow Shay. And I just completely bought into her model, which was go wide, talk about content that relates to everybody, and build a big audience of people. In that audience will be your niche. And it's actually quite simple from them, because you can talk about big content stuff that relates to everybody, but you can also put out content that will only really talk to your niche audience that's in there, and they will engage, and there'll be traction and engagement with that particular piece of content. The others won't engage with it because it's of no interest at all. But it doesn't matter, as long as you're producing different content for your audience, as niche or wide, then they stay with you.
How do you get anything else done?
So I don't, and a lot of people actually say I am at the moment because we're massively busy. So I'm back on the tools for a while at the moment, which is fun. But a lot of people say to me, "How do you justify the time to produce video content?" Because in all honesty, it is most of my life is taken up producing video content, and my simple answer is this: I call it business development. Because that's what it does. So we produce videos, clients come to us and they want to trade with us. It's business development. And how much, if you were in a sales role, how much of your life would be doing business development? All of it.
Yeah, I hired a marketing assistant recently, and I said, I want you to study this guy, and I want you to kind of copy some.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry about that.
No, it's true. It's true.
Because I couldn't sit, I don't have the attention span to be able to sit there. And
That's one of my focus. Honestly, it's one of my hyper-focused things. I can literally sit there and edit video. Love it.
Yeah. All right, well, look, that's us, Mark. Thanks so much. Great to chat
pleasure.
to you. And, fascinating business. Hello, my glamorous wife.
Hello.
Tell me, what was it like, the podcast that I just did with Mark? Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really beneficial. It was very interesting hearing how he does things differently, and I think we have a lot of synergies with that, as he is very media content creation focused. I loved the dynamic between him and Liv. I thought they had a great dynamic and really kind of reminded me, I suppose, a little bit of us in regards to she handles all the ops, she's the planner, she's the organizer, he's kind of the whirlwind guy, and I think that's kind of similar to us. So it was really cool. So Dualta, what was it like meeting Mark Gaisford?
Well, the man with no friends is full on. He's lots to say. He's real busy. You can see that he is exactly who he is on his videos. And it's really great just getting to know him and finding out a bit more about his story and his plan for his business. And really, at the end of the day, he's just another recruitment business owner. So he shares the same problems that the rest of us do and the same challenges. And he's got some lofty goals, and just pinpointing that down was interesting.